production facilities for Arts Insight provided by FilmBiz Recycling, a nonprofit prop shop creating socially responsible and sustainable solutions from media industry waste.
From Brooklyn, New York. Man, that free trade, mountain-grown antifreeze sure hits the spot. It's Arts Insight with Andrew Guidoni. Tonight, actor and theater director Greg Skura. Scored a perfect 1600 on his SATs by playing Connect the Dots on his answer sheet, Andrew Guidoni.
Welcome to Arts Insight. I'm Andrew. Here on the show, we feature some of New York's finest neighborhood talent from all 5 boroughs of New York City, and I'm so glad you could join us this week. Of course, we're coming to you from FilmBiz Recycling in Gowanus, as we do every week. How are you, Liz?
I'm great, Andrew. How are you?
That's not your usual microphone, is it?
This is not.
It looks like a wireless karaoke mic.
You know, it was at the bar last night
and you took it with you.
They said, you know, you should take it with you when you go.
That's my Liz.
They say you can't take it with you when you go.
That's my Liz.
But I took it with me.
Walked out of that bar in a drunken stupor.
Liz, take that with you.
But God, we love her because she's here tonight to announce our show with a karaoke microphone.
Karaoke.
Because that's just
there's karaoke people.
Because that's just how she rolls. That's exactly how she rolls. And we've got some lovely art adorning our desk. This is the art of the day. It is artist Carlo Grassini. I believe his work seems familiar. The work is called Yo, Me Horse Kicked Me. Is that am I reading this right?
That's exactly the title. That is exactly the title.
Me horse kicked me. You sure you didn't get this as a little souvenir from the bar?
No.
Stole it from the walls just to bring it to us?
At auction, at a BWAC auction, actually.
It's ink on paper.
Yes.
And if you want to see more, go to the website sashionline.com. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Sashi Online. And little known, Carlo was a New York City school teacher. And when his students finally saw his provocative work after he had retired, well, they were quite like, that was my art teacher? Yes.
Tonight's guest, now living in Bushwick's thriving arts community, is a longtime Manhattanite working as an actor, director, and teacher for almost 2 decades. He's appeared in many theater productions citywide and internationally. You may have seen this man on the television soap opera circuit, as he's had recurring featured roles on All My Children, Guiding Light, and my personal favorite, As the World Turns. Although I've watched The Bold and the Beautiful, and I have to confess, that one's up there for me as well.
I am so shocked that you have watched a single soap opera.
Well, I'm a sentimental guy.
She's a sentimental man, a sentimental mood.
Now, for the gamer fans, he's currently featured on Rockstar Games' hit video game, L.A. Noire, and recently directed Christian O'Reilly's play The Good Father at the Tangent Theater Company upstate. He recently founded Open Channel Creations, a theater company that he runs with his wife, and produces plays including the production of Barry Gifford's Hotel Room trilogy, and also runs workshops that help actors cultivate the quality of presence, which he'll talk with us about shortly. It's a pleasure to have him on the show. Please welcome Greg Skura.
So what we're going to demonstrate for you here is a brief improvisational exercise based in color work. And the idea here is we have 2 actresses, Jennifer Skura and Wendy Allegart, and they're going to play a situation from real life, a simple situation. And the idea here is to stay out of your head and into the present moment using colors. And these colors are red, yellow, and blue. Without going into what they exactly mean individually, red, yellow, and blue are just archetypal colors that bring up certain emotion that you may experience and how to work with that emotion to make yourself more present in the situation. So normally we will have already relaxed, we have centered and grounded, which is terms we use at Open Channel to become in that present place from which to work. So let's assume that's already happened, and now we're going to go ahead and just do a brief scene using this color work. Okay, so we're going to start from a neutral place, just intention-based only, and you can go ahead.
How does that feel?
That's great. Thank you
Good.
so much. I can't tell you how long I've been traveling. It's like it just goes right into my neck, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's enough that I'm getting married.
Wendy, let's freeze it. And Wendy, this is red. This is very red. Go ahead.
It's enough that I'm getting married and
Right.
that I waited until the very last minute to get my hair cut. So I really appreciate your time and your effort. I know how busy
course.
you are.
Of course, I'm sure you're really busy.
Well, you know, the wedding is on Sunday, so yeah, it's been a bit busy, but I want to do something new, and I love the look that I saw.
Freeze it and go, Jennifer, this is yellow. Feel yellow, experience yellow is in your body, and just go with it now.
Okay, are you thinking?
I want that
anything-
picture that Katy Perry had. I loved what you did with her hair, and that's exactly what I want. I want highlights here,
Okay.
and I want just a
More yellow.
little bit of lift.
Okay, I didn't do that with Katy Perry's hair, but I can definitely
What do you
mimic
mean you
that.
didn't do that with Katy Perry? It said it was Natasha Smith.
Oh, that's
They gave you credit.
I'm not
That's why-
Natasha.
that's why I'm-
No, this is Natasha's salon, but I'm not Natasha. I'm Rachel.
What?
But I.
Freeze it there, Wendy. Go more yellow. Let's flip it and go yellow.
What?
I'm Rachel.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
But
actually,
I made an appointment.
right.
I made an appointment with Natasha.
Oh, you did. Well,
Yeah.
Jennifer, red. Red. Go red.
I promise you, I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry. Okay?
Where is Natasha? Did she get something happen?
Actually, it's interesting you brought up Katy Perry because she's on a shoot with her right now.
Really?
Yes. But I've been training with Natasha for a very long time. I know exactly what I'm doing. Are we thinking about color?
More red in your hair and hands, Jennifer. More red in your hands.
Okay. Are we thinking about doing color
Yeah,
here?
yeah,
And-
exactly. I
Okay.
want just like can you do the highlights that you did for Katy Perry?
Absolutely.
Do you know the picture I'm talking about?
Yes, I
Wendy, blue.
do.
Wendy, we're going blue.
You do.
Yes, I do. I
You
do. Okay.
I loved those highlights. A little bit of blue and
Yeah,
black.
yeah.
Just a tinge. Just a tinge. I have this 19th century lace collar for my
Get it in
dress.
your hands. Go. Nice
I just,
collar.
it's a 19th century lace collar, and I just think a little bit of edge.
Okay, and
You
I'm
can do it.
I can definitely do that. I'm also thinking that might be.
What is your name?
Rachel.
your name?
Rachel.
Red, Jennifer.
Yes.
Jennifer, red.
I'm Rachel.
Good.
You're gonna
Hands
remember
again.
that
Oh, Rachel.
when I get done with you.
You are a lifesaver, I have to say.
You're gonna be the most
I-
beautiful bride that there ever was. Don't worry.
Oh,
Don't
I'm
you worry. It's all right. It's all
sorry,
right.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Yes.
Now
So
I'm
you
also
know what
thinking.
I want, yeah?
Yes. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe the dramatic highlights here for your wedding might be a little too much. So I'm going to do.
Too much.
Go
Well,
red, Wendy. Go red.
Too much?
no.
No. It's not too much.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not too much.
All right,
I've
if
thought
that's-
about it a lot. I want something much more dramatic with my hair.
Okay.
Because my dress is rather soft. Okay.
Yes.
My dress is very Victorian and it's very feminine,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to have that all played out. I want something more angular, something a little edgier. That's what I want.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes, that's what we'll do.
Great.
Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're awesome. You're awesome. No.
So, welcome to the show, Greg Skura.
Hi.
Greg, pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the sound and movement exercise that we just saw.
Yes, that is an exercise from the world of sound and movement that was developed years ago, actually, through the work of the Open Theater, which was a man named Joseph Chaikin, started the Open Theater. He sort of founded off-Broadway. And he looked at different techniques of exploring presence and different ways into a character. And I've taken some of those exercises and adapted them either to use, as Joe did, for actors, ways to find character, or for lack of a better term, regular folks, how can we become more present with ourselves and in the world around us? So what we saw was a color exercise, looking at different colors like red, yellow, and blue, and how they can influence how we act in ourselves and with others, whether we're in a role on stage or whether we're in life, in a job interview, or on a date, or on the street, or any situation you can come up with. How can we truly be present in any given situation, and how can we give the most of ourselves to that situation?
This might sound like a dumb question, but why is presence so important to an actor?
Well, you know, if you've ever seen, let's say in theater, you see a theatrical production, and there's somebody on stage, maybe it's a big Broadway show, and they're in the background, and they're not even saying anything, but you can't take your eyes off that person, even though the main action is going on downstage. What does that person have? They have presence, we call it. They have charisma or star power, or why some speaker is better than others. Why do you want to, makes that person so attractive? And we call it presence. So what I'm trying to do with my company, with Open Channel, is see if that presence can be learned, and I believe it can, and there's a technique to uncover our own presence. We've all got it, and that's, I think, just, you know, pretty cool.
Tell me a little bit about Joseph Chaikin, the theater pioneer. You're a theater pioneer especially.
Oh, Joe was, you know, I was lucky enough to study with Joe toward the end of his life. He passed away in 2003. I studied with him and actually was his assistant for the final 6 months or so of his life. Joe was a scholar, an actor, a director. He formed a company called the Open Theater. The off-Broadway movement, that was Joe. They were looking at other ways into other modes of theater, less commercial modes of theater. They got a little bit political. They were looking at, as opposed to the method, which is a great method of acting where it's all psychological, Joe was more about ensemble and that presence between actors as themselves, not as characters. So if I'm on stage and you, Andrew, you're on stage playing a character, sure, you may be Mr. Simmons, but you're still Andrew, and the audience is still the audience. And he was interested in that interaction in between the two, which created a much more exciting, living theater, which is actually the name of the company he came out of. And that's a little different than presentational. I'm playing a character. I'm stuck in my own character. He wanted actors to be themselves interacting with an audience, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
I think in a way what you're saying, if I'm reading you right or not, I could be completely off base, is, you know, I have assets, I have inherent assets, and I am going to make the very most of what those are. Whatever those qualities are, whether I am cast into something or whether I can take something from the play or the story and adapt it to my own sort of being, aura, what have you.
Yes.
That I'm going to bring those qualities out because they're second nature to me, and people will see that, and I'm being true to me.
Yes, yes.
So
if you're playing Willy Loman and I'm playing Willy Loman, your Willy Loman can be brilliant, but it's going to be a little different based on who you are, and your own ideas are going to infuse that character. And that your presence is going to be different from my presence. And what is that? How can we enhance that? How can we grow it? And that's what we do.
And Willy Loman is an interesting, very interesting subject, or interesting in example, in that, you know, everyone can add their own dynamic or complexity to it.
Yes.
But the story doesn't change, but the way you go about it does.
Right, and not only the way you're playing Willy Loman, but the way your Willy Loman interacts with Linda and Biff and Happy creates a different ensemble experience entirely, which is why there can be 12 brilliant versions of this brilliant play, but each one's going to have its own color, if you will. You know?
Well, let's talk about how you got to forming Open Channel Productions. And
Well, I've been fascinated with this idea of presence for a long time. I mean, I've been in New York for about 19 years as an actor, as a director. It became about more than acting about 5 or 6 years ago when I started just really becoming interested in things like meditation, in things like communications, public speaking, things that go on beneath the surface, like Joseph Campbell's mythology, these different archetypes, different ways that we can live in the world that are like sort of subtextual, unconscious, subconscious. And I like to play around in there. You know, I was a psych major in college, you know, as opposed to a drama major. So I was thinking, you know, why don't I take these things, why don't I listen to what I'm exploring, take these things and systematically come up with systems or workshop or classes that explore who we are and how we can be that way in life and on stage and with each other. So that's kind of what we do. You know, we work with actors and artists who would like to enhance their own self-expression, but also folks who just want to know how to ace a job interview or just feel comfortable with who they are.
Learning that is a great thing in a specific environment.
Yeah.
Your company has a site-specific play, and I've heard of site-specific plays. They're getting a lot of press now, which is interesting. I mean, you can go to, I've heard plays taking place from rooftops, from bus depots, I don't know, from, maybe a public school, inside a classroom, but you take it to a hotel room.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So have always been a big fan of David Lynch. And about 20 years ago, actually, around Twin Peaks time, I caught something on HBO called Hotel Room Trilogy, which was a series of 3 one-act teleplays that were written by Barry Gifford. David Lynch commissioned these for HBO. They were set across different time periods in the same hotel room. The turn of the century, at the present day, which was back then, 1992, and the third one was in like the 50s. Anyway, these were done, they were in a claustrophobic setting in a hotel room, and they were brilliant. And there's that, as only David Lynch can do, this sort of menace going on underneath the surface, and I'd always wanted to direct them, or be in them, didn't know. Well, I was talking about it with my wife not long ago, and she actually had the idea about, like, why don't we consider actually, you should do it, and we thought, well, let's do it in an actual hotel room. Talk about the presence and the energy of having 5 or 6 people as sort of a semi-private performance in an actual hotel room. These plays that were written to take place in a hotel room, let's do them in a hotel room. We contacted Barry Gifford, the writer, who wrote Wild at Heart and Lost Highway and a whole series of award-winning novels. He loved the idea. It had never been done before. He came to see it. As a matter of fact, he gave us permission. We had a new piece done, a third piece in the hotel room that was based on one of his short stories. We adapted it. My wife did, actually. And we did them in the hotel room at the Roger Smith Hotel, and they were a great success. Barry came. He loved it. He brought some VIPs with him. They loved it. So the plan is to remount it for a longer run and have a full, get some press. And we had some pretty stellar actors involved, and it was a great challenge for them, because literally the audience is no farther away from the actors than you and I are from each other right now, which is really cool. And they're creepy plays too, and they're dangerous, voyeuristic, claustrophobic, like madness going on right in front of you.
If I'm sitting in the room and I'm a participant, a audience member, what kind of experience that I would get that would be that much more dynamic than just sitting a few rows from you?
Oh, well, one of our seats is on the couch in the hotel room, and the other two cushions on the couch are occupied by actors at one point. So you're literally sitting right there. There's some violence that goes on, and it takes place literally practically in your lap. Now, it's a safe experience. There's no danger to anybody involved, including the actors, but it's, as opposed to a stage in front of you as opposed to a proscenium, that's not happening here. You're actually literally a fly on the wall with some pretty disturbed people, as David Lynch, might like to work with. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
it worked, I promise.
sign me up then.
Good.
Well, let's talk about where we can find out more about Open Channel Creations and
Sure.
All that stuff.
There's a lot of different ways. There's right now I have a blog. We're gearing up to open very soon. No pun or pun intended. There's openchannelcreations.tumblr.com. There's also openchannelcreations.com, which will give you more information about the Hotel Room Trilogy project we were just talking about. We're on Twitter at openchannelnyc. And there's a phone number as well. Can I give you the phone number?
Sure.
Yeah, it's 212-229-8042. Those are all the ways you can find us.
So don't forget it. And if you want to find out more about the site-specific play, the Hotel Room Trilogy, and other things, certainly visit those websites and get in touch with Greg. Greg, it was a pleasure having you on the program. Greg Skura, everyone.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Well, thank you for watching Arts Insight. Make it a good one. Bike safely, walk safely, drive safely if you drive.
Don't get drunk while doing karaoke, because you could end up with one of these.
Or you could end up with one of these. Thanks for watching Arts Insight. Make it a good one, and have a good night.
Good night.
Production facilities for Arts Insight provided by FilmBiz Recycling, a nonprofit prop shop creating socially responsible and sustainable solutions from media industry waste.